Hi, I'm Torte Lini. Here's the meta news report for patch 7.35D. Hero guides are updated again for the 376th time with 150 changes, a smaller adjustment compared to the 929 changes made in February. Let's check in on the meta weather for the top offlane heroes to play so far in patch 7.35D. Okay, so first hero to talk about in the offlane is Razor. Could be really good in the laning stage against heroes with no distancing abilities like, I don't know, Lifestealer or Troll. Where Razor can kind of just static link them anytime they get close and then use that damage against them to harass or to deny or last hit your own creep for XP or gold, or basically bully out the enemy support. In terms of changes, I revised Razor's skill build to now get 2 points in static link. That's pretty much all you need in the early game to guarantee last hits and punish enemies call out. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but at the beginning of 7.35, they changed static link so that it steals less damage per second, but static link lasts much longer. So once you grab a target, it just comes down to holding on to them, which can be pretty easy with the right support or right soft support to set you up. But that also means that early levels of static link provide more damage than before to you if you get the full link off. The rest of the skill build has you max out everything like before. Storm Surge second, as that will accelerate your farm with the forked lightning chance when getting attacked. And this also helps a lot against stacked jungle camps on top of your ultimate ability, Eye of the Storm, to clear them out. So let's talk about classic leader of the offlane, Centaur Warrunner. You love him. I personally tried to love him. Not that great of him, but that doesn't mean he's not a great hero through and through. Since most soft supports are looking to set up kills with you, Centaur kind of shifts the lane dominance into overdrive with his double-edged spam, wearing down the enemy safelaner, while Centaur just kind of out-regens the entire lane anyway. That constant kill threat potential is scary for a lot of safelaners who need to either have good lanes or stable ones. Even someone like, Faces Void doesn't really have the time walk capacity to keep up with a Centaur that buries his chest into him every few seconds with double edge. Even with the Shiva's Guard nerf, Centaur with just a Blink Dagger and a Veil can pretty much do a lot of ganking around, making space for his carry to farm. And Internal Shroud is still a pretty great item for Centaur Warrunner, as stacks of magic resistance is applied each and every time you use double edge. That pretty much mitigates the very self-damage you deal back to Centaur as you use double edge to pretty much nuke down most enemies in that mid game. In terms of changes for the hero, I've updated his skill build to have 2 points in double edge by the time Centaur hits level 3, and I've shifted your level 15 talent to be the strength talent or strength benefit. I threw in an early game bracer to help deal with your higher health cost of using double edge early on, but also to kind of give you a bit more comfort and damage for last hitting, though Centaur usually has pretty decent base damage. You can actually get a second bracer if you really feel like you need it, or you're being especially aggressive and you want that regen. But honestly, bracer into Helm of the Iron Will should be sufficient for this classic beat 'em up guy in this offlane. Speaking of classic leaders, Doom still on the board and popular as ever thanks to the rise of Lifestealer. You're about to see a fight where he does exactly why we picked Doom. No better way really to shut down Lifestealer than to just outright cancel out all his life-stealing capabilities with your ultimate ability, Doom. What's more is the Infernal Blade does percentage-based damage, which can really fuck up a strength hero like Sven or Lifestealer across the game. It's pretty much what I talked about last time when I mentioned Doom being such a great offlane pick. He's kind of a survivor of the Shiva's Guard meta, where the only thing his guide has changed is that Shiva's Guard is now purchased later rather than rushed, though to be honest you can still kind of rush it on Doom if you have the opportunity. Doom still has pretty much incredible presence in the lane thanks to his Scorched Earth, means he can run to anyone who goes for a deny or last hit, and Devour giving him additional armor combined with the Helm of the Iron Will that you're building off lets you pretty much shrug off most physical harassment. Not all, obviously, but a good amount of regular harassment. The hero still has great farming capabilities and an ultimate ability, Doom, that shuts down a lot of heroes relying on T-Mords like Vladimir's Offering and Garden Greaves, and obviously for Lifestealer, it's his Feast. All these things kind of keep them alive and well in fights, and then Doom kind of just does that so they can't escape, and then they can't really dispel that out, and then they can't really maneuver away from his Scorched Earth and Infernal Blade damage. His double stun of Blink Centaur Stomp from your Devour into Infernal Blade is an incredibly annoying combo to get initiated on, especially when followed up with the ultimate ability Doom, preventing you from reacting for your abilities in any time. I mean, basically the bottom line, if the game goes long, you can also kind of just forget all that stuff I talked about and just build Hand of Midas and pretty much rice-a-roni the whole map before the enemy team has even started counting to a 6-slotted inventory. The hero can pretty much shift gears from bully to farmer in a snap, and I really think, honestly, that's why Doom's just so draftable. He can play both sides really well, have a lot of impact in fights, is a kill threat from the laning stage on. Just a really good overall general hero, especially for an off lane where you need someone like a Doom to not only be able to survive, but you know, safely and comfortably initiate with his Doom ability. Probably one of the easiest heroes to play right now. Honestly, I don't think there's anyone easier to play than Kunkka. The hero is just inherently tanky, especially after you buy 2 bracers for the laning stage, and relying on Tidebringer to either help guarantee last hits on range creeps or to hit the range creeps that will then do extra damage to enemy safe laners. Really makes kind of laning with Kunkka super easy and nice and smooth. I mean, once you hit level 6, there's really no way the enemy can escape or survive your X marks the spot into Torrent, into boat combo. So from there on, the lane is pretty much yours. What's really important here, and I think what I really want to highlight with this video here, is the fact that when you play Kunkka, the big change that really mattered is his Bloodstone has made Torte Storm just an absolute hell to deal with as an enemy team. The hero honestly hasn't really changed in any real or meaningful way. He still builds, you know, phase boots, still builds blade mail to round out his tankiness, and then builds Ag Scepter, Blanking Bar, the Shard for the wave pushback, and then just forces ganks and fights pretty much all the time. The big thing that continues to make him kind of notably popular is, as I mentioned, the Bloodstone on him makes team fighting with Torrent Storm pretty insane, since Bloodstone increases the AoE of your Kunkka spells. So Torrent Storm, it's like this big. Without Bloodstone, it's pretty much, I would say, half if not 75% of the map, and then Bloodstone is pretty much 100% of the map. So pretty funny ability. So how do you beat one of the best carries in the game for 7.35D, Lifestealer? Well, honestly, you could just do the Slardar move, which is to just beat him over the head over and over again. You're about to, I think, see one right now. Slardar just does that, and what's great is that a lot of Slardar players are even opting for an Orchid instead of Echo Saber, so you can silence Lifestealer, lower his armor to zip in, and then just kill him or attack him to death. Honestly, Orchid is just pretty strong right now this patch, and the previous patch since it's been buffed, so a lot of heroes that we see like Dragonite and even Slardar like to pick up an Orchid alternatively instead of Mage Slayer, or for Slardar it's going to be Echo Saber. There's really no big trick or reason why this hero is popular. He's just honestly a good response during the laning stage against you know, these melee safe laning carries like Sven, like, you know, Faceless Void, or even here Lifestealer. And his mid-game momentum, honestly, for Slardar is pretty much on par with Lifestealer, and pretty considerably strong. The only thing about Slardar is that he's only physical damage, right? He doesn't deal any magical mixed damage, so just a heads up on that, depending on who you need to beat, right? High armor heroes are kind of a no-go for Slardar. You know, players are also picking up his Ag Scepter because it allows Slardar kind of massive status resistance and armor and regeneration, and can kind of let him sit through kind of immobilizing debuffs like Slark's Leash from Pounce, or Sven's Ag Scepter Stormhammer stun, or Nature's Prophet Sprout, and then from there on he just goes and bashes them to death, or more importantly, keeps control of the fight through his other stun ability. Yeah, Slardar, just nothing more straightforward than a bashing snake, or bashing serpent. I don't know what the hell that guy is, a fish. Okay, so next hero is also another very straightforward hero. I have this on 2x speed, so yes, it's going to look weird, but pretty much the only reason for that is to explain why Windranger is just really good. Probably the only ranged offlane I'm probably going to be recommending this patch. Windranger, not only is she a great flex pick, she could play mid, offlane, she even played obviously as a safe lane carry, but she's honestly one of the most straightforward heroes to win offlane with, right? Right now, the most popular safe lane carries are melee heroes like Faceless Void, Slark, Lifestealer. I mean, even Luna here, you can see Luna is just kind of short range, right, compared to Windranger, who has honestly unfair range in terms of her damage output. And all great heroes that can't handle pretty much being poked by Windranger, who had her damage increased in 7.25B, and I remember that in 7.35C, Wraithband gave less armor. So these small adjustments really do start to add up for her. She's just really strong, right? It's a universal attribute here with great range, great poke damage, BAT is decent. Nothing to break down too intelligently here. She's just a really good pick here. She farmed decently well. Her power shot got a good buff in 7.35 with the slow debuff, and flat mana cost at all levels. So super easy to build hero as well. She builds Glipnir BKB, and she deals fast, mixed physical and magical damage as a universal attribute hero. What's really not to like about her, she's just a safe pick, so definitely play her out this patch. I mean, you can see here, look, she has nothing. She just right-clicks people. Like, it's just like, it's not a complicated hero at all. I can see why people don't like playing against her. She's just very conveniently annoying. So last one to talk about, Magnus. Right now pairs with a lot of great safe lane carries who really take advantage of his empower since he maxes out at level 1. Even Magnus himself uses early levels of empower to take down stacked jungle camps and get a really fast blink dagger at maybe 10-12 minutes. I've seen 10 minutes. I've seen 9 minutes for God's sake, before hopping around the map and ganking with reverse polarity, or even just relying on skewer to drag enemies towards his team. By 20-25 minutes, he's got a harpoon, which makes ganking even easier. Whereby you blink near an enemy, so you don't have to blink on top of them. You can harpoon them towards you as you turn around, and then skewer them backwards towards your ally again. I'm sure someone has experienced that as much as I have. Very annoying. It's basically a tempo setting hero, right? Basically what he's always doing is just ganking around, killing people, so that the enemy team is always sort of 3v5 or 4v5 and they can't really engage. And that gives plenty of room for, let's say, your faceless void or really anyone on the safe lane side to level up, get free room to outfarm their teammates, their enemies, basically. Yeah, so hero just has basically great mid-game tempo to force ganks, team fights, and just always on the offensive. You know, since popularity, honestly, of Lifestealer is coming up a lot these days, they combo really well together, since Lifestealer can infest Magnus pretty early on in mid-game after his Radiance and Armlet, wait for the initiation from Magnus, and then he can just pop out and go hard before anyone can really, honestly, even react, especially with Empower dealing cleave damage on a Lifestealer or for a Lifestealer who has Radiance, burning on top of all that, with the arm, you know, with the damage that he's getting from Armlet, Feast, Cool Frenzy, attack speed, etc. It's just a nasty mid-game high tempo combo team, right? Anyway, Magnus is kind of good, you know. Doesn't really need anything to make moves and plays. His stats are strong in general for a universal attribute hero, so if you have a good mid-game team fighter like Sven or a Lifestealer, Magnus could be a pretty good fit pretty good fit for the slot for Offlane. Honestly, I think this hero just works with most drafts. It's just a really good strong damage hero. Big buffs in the mid-game power spike timing. Okay, let's talk about upcoming trends. 2 heroes I think are really coming up in popularity and are kind of meta viable as patch develops. Definitely keep on the lookout for them and how they start to fit into the patch of 7.35D. This is one of them. Look at this guy. He looks like he's pretty much dead. Guarantee you not. There we go. Brewmaster hasn't changed all that much in terms of item build. Radiance into Shard, pretty much a no-brainer. That said, he's been kind of climbing the charts and picks and win rate as he power spikes at level 6, and it's pretty domineering, honestly, early on. And his Ag Shard adds 12 seconds to a 20-second max level ultimate ability. The Cyclone from his Storm Bruling still lasts a pretty long time, effectively singling out enemy carriers from being able to team fight while your team cleans up. Radiant's got a buff in 7.35. Don't forget that you can also use your soft support to activate your Cinder Brew for easy additional duration, and then Brewmaster is getting brewed up, gives them 3x Drunken Brawler stance perks, which is just nasty to deal with in the off lane, right? So honestly, the hero just bullies the off lane, the safe lane carry, enemy safe lane carry really well. Has a fantastic time getting one of the most easiest items to pick up, Radiance, and then has a fantastic time winning the lane at 6 onward. So pretty great hero to play. I think he's a great anti-carry hero. Just kind of does away with a lot of the bullshit that a lot of carries are establishing, right? Slark bouncing away, well, I'll just cyclone you up. Illusions from, let's say, Medusa or Luna, or from even Phantom Lancer, who's an okay pick. He'll just wipe that away with his Storm's abilities. And then, more importantly, he can stay in a fight for 30+ seconds, which means these fights that have been becoming meta as taken longer and longer are less of a problem for a hero that can last half a minute plus. Cool, last one. This is one that I personally feel is very strong. Omniknight, since the Kunkka buff in recent patches, the hero has been kind of flying under the radar for the past few patches, stealing wins from right under our noses. The buff to Kunkka's damage was made, has pretty much made this 2-hit nuking hero a menace again in the mid game, as his double hammer of purity. The second one being from the Ag Shard is now even more potent thanks to Kunkka. And with the change, honestly, to his Guardian Angel having 2 charges and can be targeted, it gives you a lot more flexibility and availability for team fights into the late game, where you're long past your value from the mid game. I honestly think this hero is just strong because mid game, after Echo Saber with your Ag Shard, he just hits a power spike hit timing that's pure damage that's just unbelievably difficult to stop. As long as you keep that momentum going, you choose your right fights, and then you choose the right timing to farm, you can keep that lasting up into the beginning of the late game, mid game, beginning of the late game or around the middle part of the late game, and you could still hopefully close out a win before Omniknight falls off. Because late game, honestly, Omniknight kind of just falls off. His damage is great, but everyone just gets really strong. So your only goal as Omniknight then is to target the back line and to double hit them enough so that they hopefully die. That's it for me. I'm Torte. Stay tuned next week for mid laners and check out my Torte 2 channel for more content. Also, I'm on Twitch continuing to test all your favorite builds every day. Just hit partnership, so thanks for that. Hero build changes are not final and will be evolving as the meta develops. Check in game for the latest versions, and don't forget to support me by subscribing, liking, give me all that money and all that shit. Bye.